Welcome back to What You Will Learn. My name is Adam Ashton.
And my name is Adam Jones. Today we're taking you through the best bits of Lying by Samuel Benjamin, the BJ man, Harris.
Sam Harris. Big podcast, very well-known dude, and we've never done one of his books before, so it's probably time. And this is a short and sweet little 40-page banger.
Yes, and he's one hell of a thinker, and he's gone hard, obviously, on the topic of lying, because he says, among many paradoxes in life, one of the most peculiar things that we do and consequential as weird little species of human beings, sometimes we often behave in ways that are guaranteed to make us unhappy, and we still do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's bizarre, isn't it? A lot of us, we spend our times marching with open eyes, doing things that are leading us towards remorse, regret, guilt, disappointment, and we just keep doing it though.
We just keep
Everybody
doing it.
all the time. We don't learn. We just keep doing things that are definitely going to make us worse off or, make us unhappy.
And out of all the things that we do, nowhere do our injuries seem more casually just self-inflicted on ourselves or the suffering we create on others than in the lies that we tell to other human beings and sometimes to ourselves.
He says that lying is the royal road to chaos. So if you want to live a chaotic life,
Go
keep
and
lying.
lie. Keep
That's
lying.
it.
But it is something we all do. A couple of cheeky different lies. There's different types of lies that we all do, different types of deception that we'll talk about in this episode. And of course, reasons why we shouldn't be lying. And there's a better way to live your life.
Before we get deep into lies, let's talk about deception. Because deception, it takes many forms, but not all acts of deceptions are lies. But sometimes, there's a lot of deceptions that we do to keep up appearances and other sorts of deceptions. But, they're close to lies. Not quite, though.
Absolutely. Like when Ashto goes to the beauty cabinet every morning and he tries to look a bit younger than he probably looks in real life, and he might put on a bit of makeup and a bit of lipstick to impress his colleagues at work. He's basically saying, please be aware that I do not look this good first thing in the morning. So he's probably deceiving some of your colleagues, Ashto, when you do that thing.
Yeah, a bit of makeup can be a bit of deception. It's not really how you actually look, but I don't know is that a lie or is that just a deception?
Yeah, it's a hard one.
It's a fine line. Another one that Jonesy does all the time is you're walking down the street, you see a friend, but then you just pretend that you don't see them and just keep walking. And you say, no, I've got no interest in talking to that bloke, and
That's
just keep walking.
Mate. It'd be weird if I did it to you one day, wouldn't it? like Jonesy, just I'd say there's a 5-year rule for some old school friends. There's another one, you're having a dinner party and then one of the guests just says something so bloody stupid that you just look around and you're like, oh, it's like it's slowed down the earth, and you're probably going to not acknowledge that. You're just going to let that one slide and not rub it in their face.
Another one is if someone says, oh, hey, Jonesy, how are you? And you just say, yeah, I'm doing well. Maybe you are, but a lot of times you're probably not doing well. Maybe you've had a shit day. Maybe you've had a fight with someone, but you just say, as just a social convention, you say, yeah, I'm doing well. Because they're not actually asking, how are you?
No,
are they? It's just
reflexive.
a greeting.
Yeah. If you go all heavy on them and say, yeah, look, I'm miserable in my career, and you just start listing out all the shit that's going on, it's probably worse and not suitable for that moment.
Yeah, that's right. So these are all little deceptions. They're probably not quite lies yet. It's probably skirting the truth a little bit, but they're not really. We're not really deliberately manufacturing falsehoods to conceal important facts to the detriment of others. So the boundary is a little bit vague, but we haven't crossed the boundary into lying yet.
Of course. So sometimes you can deceive actually with the truth. So you're actually lying, but you're telling the truth, right? So look, let's say if you rock up to the White House and you're trying to get on the phone to Mark Zuckerberg to get him on the What You Learn podcast or something, and you say, hey, this is Adam calling from the White House. I'd love to speak to Zucks.
Yeah.
That's not bullshit.
You are at the White House. You're not you kind of are calling from the White House. It's true, but you're not calling from the White House. They think that you're inside, you're a person who's meant to be in the White House, one of the president's top dogs. You're at the White House, you're calling from the White House, but you're not in the White House doing the White House's duties. So it's true, but it's still a deception.
I thought it was a pretty good idea, actually. If we go to the US, let's do exactly that and see how we go. So what is a lie? What he's saying is it is to intentionally mislead others when they're expecting honest communication.
So when you're at the poker table, there's going to be deception, but you're not expecting honest communication. When you go and see a magic show, you're not expecting full truthfulness. So, poker players and magicians, they're off the hook. But when people are expecting honest communications and you intentionally mislead them, that's a lie.
And we do it in all sorts of contexts, like we were saying before. You might like to avoid embarrassment, or you might put a bit of salt and pepper on your accomplishments. how many book sales we got. Sometimes I'm always just, just add an extra 10%. That's probably okay. Or to disguise any sort of wrongdoing to, make you look probably a bit more moral and ethical than you are.
We also lie because we make promises that we don't intend to keep. We conceal defects in products or services. We might want to mislead competitors to gain an advantage, or many of us lie to family and friends just to spare their feelings, to avoid an uncomfortable situation. You tell a little lie to save that short-term pain and just hope that in the long term it doesn't come back to bite you.
So you as the person, just like putting the lie out there, it is when you're believing one thing in your brain, so you know what, some sort of truth that you have in yourself, but you intend to communicate something that's different to what's in your mind. And that is the place where every single lie is born.
So when you tell a lie, you often imagine that it's not going to do any harm. As long as it goes undetected, as long as you get away with it, then it's all fine. But sometimes the lies can come back to haunt you. For example, Sita, she had gone on a holiday. She came back, and when she saw a family friend, she thought, I'll give these family friends a gift. Because she noticed when she was at the hotel that the little soaps, the little shampoos, little body lotions, they're actually really, really good quality. They weren't just your cheapo depot hotel stuff. They were some serious good stuff. So she sort of picked them up, got a nice little gift bag, wrapped them up, and gave them away as a gift. And the person opened it up and said, this is incredible. Where'd you get this? And she said, I just got them from the hotel gift shop. Yeah. Bought them for you.
Obviously a bit of BS on that one, but it's like just it's a very small little deviation, isn't it?
But unfortunately, the son, who wasn't quite in on the ruse, the 6-year-old son says, Mum, what are you talking about? You just took him out of the bathroom. all of a sudden, that lie that you thought was just a nice little bit of salt and pepper, you got them from the hotel, you say you bought them, you kind of just pinched them. All of a sudden, that gift is looking pretty shitty.
Yeah, they'll be pretty embarrassed, right, from the kid. That kid's probably not eating that night or something. You'd probably throw him in the naughty room or something. It might seem like the most trivial of lies, which it sort of is. It's something we've all done something tiny like that to varying degrees, and perhaps it didn't hurt the trust between the two friends, and maybe they had a laugh about it as well, and gotcha, and recognise that something that both of them did at some stage. But at the end of the day, it reveals something about C to the person. It seems she's going to lie and talk shit, but complete BS, just when it suits her needs. She's not going to have that uncomfortable moment and tell the truth.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a big lie, but that extra little bit of salt and pepper, if you're the friend, you've now eroded everything that Cedar says from now on. You think, is there probably 5 or 10% mayo on top of that? Maybe I can't really trust Cedar. But that opportunity to deceive others, it pops up all the time, and it's always very, very tempting. For you to say that you bought it compared to, I just took these off the bathroom sink, the gift seems so much better. So that opportunity there, it seems like very harmless. It's very tempting to really pump up that level of gift. And often a lot of us do take those opportunities once they're presented.
Absolutely. Many of us, every night we go to bed, and it's almost impossible for some to really go to bed without having told several lies throughout the course of the day. There's always these little temptations. It's always so tempting to just deceive others a little bit in those little moments, but it really puts us on some of the steepest ethical terrain that we're ever going to cross in our lives.
Very slippery slope. One study found that 10% of communication between spouses is deceptive, and another study found that 38% of encounters among college students contain lies. That's a hell of a lot. So every time you can imagine the types of lies you'd be coming up with, and it just seems to be, that's a hell of a lot. What, 2 out of 5 times that you speak to someone, they're going to tell you a lie.
And researchers also suggest, as you're not surprised, that despite these high numbers and our temptations to lie so much, including the little cheeky white lies that we might just drop out every now and then to spare the feelings of others, all of them are associated with less satisfying relationships compared to the ones that are more truthful.
Has Harris made the commitment to always tell the truth? I think he has, yeah. I think maybe he's working his way there, but he says that if you made that commitment to always tell the truth, you're going to very quickly notice how unusual and how rare it is to find somebody else who's also in the same boat. If you're always telling the truth, you're going to realize that everybody else is lying in some way, in some small way or big way, all around you all the time.
Absolutely. Honest people are a bit of a refuge. I mean, there's a couple of people I've come across where they just don't hold back. They don't hold their punches. If they think something, then they just go bang. You're like, shit. And just, very direct and sometimes quite harsh. But it is true. Like, they are a refuge. You might be hurt in the moment, but over time, you probably grow in respect for the people who are just straight shooters compared to the ones who are just more deceptive than the others.
And he says that if you are committing to be honest with everybody, then you're committing to avoid a wide range of long-term problems at the cost of the short-term, little occasional discomfort. So if you're gonna be honest all the time, there's gonna be a few pangs every now and then, a few bits of hurt, a few moments of a little bit of short-term pain. But he's saying that if you commit to doing this and taking the hard route in the short term, over the long term, it's going to be a much more satisfying and fulfilling relationship.
And this honesty can be a gift to others. And that discomfort that you have when you are being brutally honest at times, it might take a bit of practice to feel comfortable in these times. You get invited out for dinner and you don't want to go. You say, no, I don't want to go. You're cancelling plans. You're declining invitations. You're negotiating contracts. You're saying, nah, I'm not getting paid enough, boss. And you just go bang. Critiquing other work, just saying, your work sucks, mate. Maybe there's probably more better ways to articulate what I'm saying.
Not quite so black and white, yeah.
But it also holds a mirror to one's life and others' lives. And once you're committing to tell the truth, you're probably going to be walking around and paying attention to what the truth really is, and probably getting a better data set that enters your brain about what the world is. Yeah,
Harris found that telling the truth can reveal ways in which we want to grow but haven't. And one example for him was he was picked as a valedictorian of his high school. He was asked to give a speech, but then he said, I probably shouldn't do this. We should probably give it to somebody else who's been here longer or who's achieved more, blah, blah, blah. He was saying all these things that kind of felt true at the time, but really when he realized, actually, it was just that he was really shit scared of public speaking, that he didn't want to do the speech, so he's coming up with all these reasons. If he had told the truth and said, that's a great opportunity, but I'm pretty scared of public speaking, he would then realize that actually public speaking is probably something he wants to get better at, something that is not good enough yet, that he needs to develop, that he needs to learn, that he needs to improve. But so by telling that truth, he would have actually revealed something more personal and something more important.
Yeah, so I guess he was just lying to himself there, and he missed himself the opportunity to, with that truth, actually grow himself in that specific area. If you're telling the truth and you got this commitment, the rudder of your ship will be going really in the direction of what's authentic for you.
Now let's look at all the different types of lies that there are. One important distinction between lies is acts of commission and acts of omission. We judge the acts of commission much more harshly. The commission, they're the things that we're actively doing. They're the lie that we create, the falsehood that we tell, the conspiracy that we build up behind somebody's back. These are the things that we're actively doing. When we see somebody or hear about somebody doing that, we say that's a really bad thing to do. To actively tell lies is a really bad thing to do.
And then omission is something entirely different. So let's say it's one thing to go up and Ashto, when you go to the bathroom next, I could just go through your wallet and take $100 out. That's commission.
Yeah.
It's a bit different if you leave your $100 here, and that's omission. I'd probably give you a call and say, actually, you left $100. But sometimes if the ATO did it, they left an extra couple of grand in my account. You'd 100% let that slide, wouldn't you?
And you can imagine the times you go and buy something for $6. You pay with a 20 and they only give you $4 a change, then you'd say to them, hey, you've shortchanged me. You've given me, I need another $10. But if you paid with a 10 and then they gave you $14 a change instead of 4, you probably just pocket that extra 10. You wouldn't really say anything else.
Well, that exact thing happened to me the day I finished this book, actually. It's a very short book. So it was a real test. I think it was a universe prodding me.
Yeah.
And I gave it was $20. I was buying, just buying a bag to put a gift in, sort of thing. And I also had a power adapter and a few other things, but she only charged me $3 for this whole lot of stuff. She took the $20 and walked off, and there was a 10-second silence, and it was good angel versus the demon on my shoulder. And the good angel came up.
Really? Sam Harris said, come on, mate.
Yeah. I've got another big one, man. When we were working at the Tutor Inn, I'm sure I've told you this, when I was sitting there in Smoko just having a look if my pay went in, working at a pub, was $400 for the week or something, and 12 grand. Not from the Tutor Inn, but just some random account in the world just accidentally transferred 12 grand into my account.
Yeah.
And what did I do? Well, I definitely
kept it.
I let him know about it. I let the bank know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because if it was a big corporation, I'd let it slide, but I was thinking, all right, it could be anything. It could be someone's health or who knows.
And that was even before reading lying. I reckon if it was like 1,200, you wouldn't say anything. But 12 grand's probably above that level.
That's a hard one. It's a lot of money, man. It's probably my peak moral as well.
Yeah, I reckon there's a lot of times where you've got the extra $5 or $10 in change that you let those ones slide. I reckon.
Yeah.
But if it was the other way and you got short change, you'd definitely be letting them know about it.
Yeah, omission, commission. So, acts of omission are also lies that we perhaps tell ourselves they're not lies.
Yeah, it's one thing to go in a job interview and lie about your experience or lie about what jobs you've had or what education you've got. That would be commission. But if somebody, first day on the job and they say, oh, here's Adam, he's worked at Google and Facebook and Netflix, and then they're just telling everybody, you might just let that one slide. Yeah, that would be omission, not to correct the falsehood and just let that one go as well.
But yeah, you're not off the hook. That's still a lie.
It's going to come back to get you, that's for sure.
So the other form of lies is the white lies. So let's say you get an awful gift from your Uncle Jim. He's just gone to Bali and he's bought you a party shirt. And it's a party shirt. You know it sucks and you're never going to wear it. And you're saying, hey, wow, that's amazing. And he's like, do you like it? And you're like, where did you buy it? And he's trying to change the conversation. Bali. Now you're in a bit of a cold sweat because he's kind of cornering you to give a real reaction about what you think.
Yeah, he's asking, do you like it or not? And every time you're answering, not with an actual answer to that question, you're trying to skirt the real question. You don't want to say, sorry, Jimbo, this fucking sucks, mate. You're just saying, oh, where'd you get it? Oh, this is amazing. Oh, thanks so much for thinking of me. You haven't actually said if you like it or not yet.
But Harris is saying you don't have to just say, Jimbo, you suck. This sucks.
Yeah, he's saying you could say, oh, I love it, which is a lie. Yeah, or you could say, oh, this sucks. There's, black and white. There's a bit of grey in the middle where you can take a different path.
Well, that's where he says, I'm really touched you thought of me. So it's still having that pleasantness in the interaction, but you're not telling BS when you're doing it. So that's probably a response where Harris is more comfortable with. And when you commit to not lying, you get a bit more skillful sort of dancing around those moments. Yeah,
you're not saying, oh, Jimbo, I love this so much, because then Jimbo's expecting the next Christmas party that you're going to be wearing that shirt because it's your new favourite shirt. If you try and lie and put too much salt and pepper on it, you're just going to cause more problems later. When Jim never sees you wear that shirt ever again, he's going to be thinking, well, Jonesy's giving me a bit of... He's lied to me here.
Another example is Sam Harris was once asked from a friend if he was overweight, which he obviously was, carrying a few extra kgs, and he's probably just asking for reassurance. Hey, I don't look that bad, do I? It's in summer here. I'm a bit self-conscious. They were sitting by the wires by the pool with their tops off having a drink. So Harris, he answered, look, no one's ever going to say you're fat and you're not huge, you're not obese, but if I was you, I'd probably want to lose 25 pounds. So bit of a slap.
Yeah, definitely.
But 2 months later, he's 15 pounds lighter because of that honest interaction what Harris had. Neither of them knew that he needed to go on a diet until Harris declined the opportunity to lie and avoid that uncomfortable conversation that they had.
Yeah, that's right. The bloke he was probably thinking, oh, I'm getting a bit older, the metabolism's slowing down, I've got a wife and kids now, so it's probably okay. He probably wasn't really thinking about losing weight, but when Harris gave him the honest answer, like, yeah, he wasn't fat, he wasn't ridiculously overweight, but he could probably afford to lose a few pounds. That's when he started thinking. That's when the wheels started turning. Actually, I probably can do something about this. So is that little bit of honesty was enough to plant the seed. Now, what about another tougher one?
This is the steel man of the tough one of the white lie. If you're having a white lie, it'd be this one.
This is the stereotypical, does this dress make me look fat? When you're going out for the night, the big party or the nice fancy dinner, and the partner says, does this outfit make me look fat? This is when you're really going to get tested.
Well, you're going to tell the truth here. There's a few things that could happen if you did tell the truth. And again, you don't have to explicitly just be a dick about it. You can kind of navigate this in a skillful way. But one thing,
you're not just going to say yes.
Yeah, you're not going to say yes. You can skirt around it. But telling her the truth would help her find a more flattering outfit.
Yeah, you can probably say that you wouldn't say, yes, you look fat. You could probably say, no, you don't look fat, but it doesn't look the best on you, this dress. Maybe you can try something else. And that's probably... that there's going to be 5 seconds of really uncomfortableness there, because they're probably just saying, tell me I look good, tell me you love me. They're not actually asking, do you look fat or not? But if they're actually thinking, do I look fat? Then the whole night they're going to be a little bit self-conscious. They're going to be thinking, what angle are people looking at me at? Is this dress really looking good on me? If you can actually go through that 5 seconds of pain to say, actually, let's try something else, and you'd say, no, you're not fat, it just doesn't look that good on you, this outfit doesn't really work, then in the long term, that's going to be a good thing.
So that's then if the truth is that the it's the dress that makes her look fat.
Yeah.
The other truth might be that she's
are,
fat. She is fat. So what do you do in that situation? So obviously that's next level difficult. But let's just put in some context here. Let's say she's 35 years old. She's single. You know that her greatest desire right now is to get married and start a family. And you also believe that most men are probably going to decline her and swipe right on Tinder if she's at her current weight. I think it's swipe right, isn't it?
I don't know. It's long past
that for both of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like she's just probably going to feel happier and healthier and just better about herself and her whole self-esteem if she did get in shape.
So you can take the easy path, the white lie, and just say no, you don't look fat, or no, you're not fat. In the short term, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier. You can simply deny all those realities that if somebody lost weight, they probably would be happier and healthier and more energetic if they got in shape. Or you can take the tougher route, decide not to lie, to have the honest conversation. And yeah, it's going to be extremely painful, but maybe in the long term, it's going to be a really big help to them.
That's it. You're probably going to get accused of fat shaming and a bit of that sort of stuff. But when you lie to your friends, you're really denying them useful information and setting them up for future disappointment. So what are you really doing for them?
Nobody else is going to tell them the truth. Like if you're a good friend, you're probably the only person who is in the place to have the honest conversation to actually help them, because nobody else is going to do it. I would never say that to anybody unless they're extremely, extremely, extremely close.
Yeah, that's it, 100%. But the temptation to lie in these circumstances are bloody overwhelming. Another form of lies is big lies. So we've been covering the lies at the individual level, but obviously it also happens at the corporate level, government, public institutions, and their whole brand and their whole system can be undermined by lies.
Yeah, you've got the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which started the Vietnam War, really. You've got the false reports of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, which started that war. There's all these like big lies that have kicked off massive, worldwide catastrophes, and really like has led us to distrust, big government, big corporations, big institutions.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly in the last few years, there's just a reflex of just distrust for people in positions of authority. Like there was, the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and there's so much just distrust around countries declaring war now. If there was, like, say, a World War II event happening right now, or a real reason to go to war, not everyone could get behind something like that, I think, and unite behind a country going to war.
You'd always be worrying about what's the real
BS? Yeah, what's really happening.
Or like pharmaceutical companies that come out with this new wonder drug, spend a whole bunch of money marketing it, selling it at everyone, and then you realize that actually it's basically no more effective than a placebo. When they actually did legit studies, it was only slightly better than a placebo. Then you're always going to be thinking, okay, well, is this medicine actually doing anything for me? And that first lie starts to compound, starts to snowball. All of a sudden, you're distrusting all medicine, and all of a sudden, you're like, well, should I take this medicine or not? And then if you're in a serious dire health consequences, you're always going to be questioning, what's to go with this medicine here? Is it legit or not? So this lie that is constantly undermining all of our future decisions and reducing our trust in big organizations.
So bloody hell, lies, they're everywhere. They're so tempting. There's so many different forms of them. But there's huge issues that pop up because of it. Lies at all forms. One of the biggest problems that we have when we lie, or the big bad lies out there, you got to keep track of them all. You're talking shit all day. You tell Susie, you put a bit of salt and pepper about how you performed at this thing, and then a week later you're having the same conversation with someone else. You're like, what? And then that person's speaking to Susie. Like, it's crazy accounting that you can do in your brain.
Yeah, and then lies beget other lies. Because if you tell Susie that one lie, and then Johnny comes over and asks you, I heard from Susie you did this on the weekend.
Killing it, mate. Killing it. I heard you killing it. You go, yeah, killing it.
Then you got to keep telling those lies. Or imagine, you say, one of your mates invites you out for a night out, and you say, oh, sorry, I've got plans with so and so that night. And then you got to remember who you told the lie to. Then they're going to say, oh, hang on, I thought you were with this person. Then they see you walking down the street, just getting a kebab by yourself. And then there's all these lies that can completely come unstuck. You got to keep lying to keep up with your own lies, but you also got to keep track of all the different lies that you're telling.
Yeah, that's it. The world out there, reality, it's just doing its thing. And lies, they sort of continually need to be protected from the collisions with your reality, because reality is always going to be there. Like, what really happened? Yeah. So when you're telling the truth all the time, you got this commitment. There's really nothing to keep track of. You don't need to do this accounting whatsoever. Literally, the world itself is your memory. And there are times when you like don't believe what you used to believe or something. That's fine. Like you can just continually just no accounting and just be what you are.
That's right. Actually, a quote Mum used to always say to me: "What a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive."
Oh,
you start that first little strand of a lie,
that's wonderful,
and then that spider web just keeps getting more and more complex. Your whole life becomes a complex web of trying to keep track of your lies. Compared to if you just tell the truth, you've only got one truth. It's much more simple.
Yeah, beautiful quote there by Kay. So the liar must remember what was said to whom and maintain all these falsehoods all the way into the future. It's very hard to untangle that web of lies as well.
That's right.
It's an extraordinary amount of work, all of which comes at the expense of authentic communication, free attention, the upsides we've already mentioned.
So most forms of private vice and public evil, they're kindled and sustained by lies. If you think about it, all acts of adultery, personal betrayals, financial fraud, government corruption, murder, genocide, all of these kind of required some moral defect, and that really started with a willingness to lie. It started with that one lie that kept escalating and kept escalating.
When we lie on the personal level to others, we're really denying them a view of the world and having that extra data. And our dishonesty not only influences the choices they're going to make as their next steps, it really determines the choices that we're going to make personally in ways we can't really predict. Every lie is an assault on the autonomy of those we lie to.
If you just think for a moment, how would your relationships change if you resolved to never lie again? What truths about yourself might suddenly come into view? What kind of person would you become? And how might you change the people around you if you made a commitment, if you made the vow to stop telling lies and just from now on always tell the truth? It's probably worth finding out.